Hey, what's going on there, guys? So, I've had my Nintendo Switch 2 for a few months now, and these two games right here, Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza, one thing that I would say they both have in common is they both feel just amazing to play, and I am becoming more of a Nintendo believer. So, I didn't grow up as a Nintendo gamer. When I growing up, I was just strictly on PlayStation. A little bit in my younger days, I did a little bit of PC gaming on like point and click games, but pretty much all growing up, I was exclusively playing my games on PlayStation. And the Switch One was my first Nintendo console, and a few months ago, I got the Switch Two at launch. And the Switch One being my first Nintendo console, it was very interesting and exciting when I first got it, and I just the whole concept of a hybrid console. It could be a console or it could be a handheld, and you could take it on the go with you was very intriguing, and that concept was very I want to say revolutionary. What Nintendo was able to do with the Switch, and how we're getting other handhelds now, and it's ushered in this new era of handhelds that can be played on the TV or played on the go. And like I've said before in the past, growing up, like I was never really that big into handheld gaming, just because they were a separate experience from the home console, and you had to play different games that just I always said they kind of felt like more like the watered down console experience. And I know a lot of people loved their handhelds, their Game Boys or whatever PSPs growing up, but I could just never really get into that space. I was just like, I'm good with just the home console. And with the Switch, I was like, okay, so I can bring console games on the go and use it as a home console. So that intrigues me, and I decided to, finally get a Nintendo console. And I would say at times I was really into the Switch One, and I really enjoyed playing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, as well as Animal Crossing, at the beginning of the pandemic, like a lot of people did. But I never really felt like with the Switch 1 that I fully embraced that console. Like there was times where I would go like a year without maybe not a year, but it felt like a year. There's definitely multiple times where it was just like many months where I didn't even turn on my Switch. And the thing I love about Nintendo, and I think why I'm really getting into Nintendo, is I just like how their games, when you compare it to PlayStation, they're more lighthearted, fun experiences that control amazingly. And like I said, these games feel amazing to play. Like the controls are just perfect. They're chef's kiss. And I just got to give a shout out to the Nintendo Switch 2 Pro controller. This thing is the most comfortable controller I've ever held. Like, I love the DualSense controller on the PS5, but ergonomically, I don't feel like that's the best feeling controller to hold. Like this controller is nice and smooth. My my fingers can just wrap around the controller easily. It's a good size controller, and the battery life on this thing is amazing. Like I'll probably go like many weeks without having to charge this thing, which I don't know how Nintendo does that when the DualSense controller, after a few hours you have to charge it. I mean, I guess there's kind of a lot more bells and whistles on the DualSense controller, but still, it's like this. I believe this controller was at least $80, so it's pricey, but I definitely think it's worth the investment, and it has back buttons, which the original Switch Pro controller did not have. Yeah, so I just feel like with Switch One, it got me, into the Nintendo ecosystem. I kind of wet my beak on the Switch One, and with Switch Two, I feel like I'm fully starting to embrace Nintendo. I'm starting to get the itch to play Nintendo games more and more, and I've been playing my Switch 2 pretty consistently. I would say just as much as my PlayStation 5 since it came out back in what was it, the end of June. And with Switch One, I really enjoyed playing Mario Kart 8. That was the game I felt like I played the most of. But if you look at my hours count on my Switch profile, actually it was not. But I would say with Mario Kart 8, that was it. Just I love that game just because it feels amazing to play, and it's a game that you can just dip in and out of. It's one of those types of games where I can play it every so often, and I don't feel lost. This is such an easy game to hop into and play online or play on one of the offline modes. And with Mario Kart World, yeah, it's more Mario Kart. With some new bells and whistles, and we get new abilities like being able to grind on railings, and you can drive on walls, and there's more players in each race, like 24. I think it's 24 player races, so it can definitely be a little bit more chaotic, but the courses are bigger, they're wider, and I do love the new art style, the graphics of the game. I think it's a very pretty looking game, and I think in some ways this game is harder than Mario Kart 8. And what I've been doing with Mario Kart World is I've been doing the tours, all the races, and also the knockout tour. And I'm just playing on 150cc, the highest difficulty, and I'm just trying to get all the gold trophies. And I still, even after months of playing Mario Kart World, which was the very first game, that I played on my Switch 2, just like many people did. And so I'm just I built this challenge for myself to get. I'm sure a lot of people do this, try to get the gold and everything on the highest difficulty. And some of the, like, I've done all the knockout tours and race tours, but I haven't gotten at least a bronze trophy on every one of them. Like, there's still a few knockout tour races that I still need to get at least a bronze, and I think I've only gotten gold on a couple of the races in knockout tour, and a few I got silvers. So I'm just working on that, and that's like a fun challenge. I'm finding for myself. And I played a little bit of the other modes, like the online modes. I played a little bit of, which is fun and very chaotic. And I like how when you go online, it's just like nonstop. You're driving around, like you're not waiting to drive. When a game is loading or a race is loading, you're just driving around the open world of Mario Kart World, and I really find that really cool. And just keep the pedal to the metal. It doesn't stop even when you're out of a race online. And the free roam mode is also, I like it. It feels a little bit. I'm a little bit disappointed. I thought there'd be a little bit more content to that. It's just a lot of like challenges that you drive up on these like areas that say P on them. Not, you know what I mean? The letter P, and you just press it down, and it unlocks a challenge. That was an unfortunate use of words, but I think in the future Nintendo will add more to the free roam mode, and I was kind of hoping there would be a little bit more. But it's kind of like, like if you don't have time to do like a full race tour or knockout tour, like a lot of times I'll have my Switch 2 with me on my lunch break in the car, and I'll just want to, do a quick game of, just drive around free roam mode and maybe trying to get by a challenge or two. Yeah, so Mario Kart World, it just feels amazing to play. It's more Mario Kart, and there's some new modes, and I like the new art style. And yeah, and just like the game I'm about to talk about, Donkey Kong Bonanza, both these games just feel just unbelievable to play. It controls flawlessly. So let's talk more about Donkey Kong Bonanza. Now with Donkey Kong Bonanza, I think I'm gonna come out and say it. I think this is my new favorite Nintendo game. And as I said, I don't have a lot of experience with Nintendo. I played a little bit of Mario Odyssey on the Switch 1. I fell off it, kind of lost interest, which apparently Mario Odyssey team, that the team that developed Mario Odyssey, this was their next game after Mario Odyssey. So that is kind of interesting. But I played a little bit of Mario Odyssey on Switch One. Kind of lost interest. I didn't dislike it. It wasn't fully jiving with me. And I played, another one of the big hits on Switch One was obviously Breath of the Wild, and I played 30 hours of that or so. I forget why I lost interest. I think it's just that game is such a commitment, like a time commitment, where I was trying to juggle it with multiple other games, and I think that's why I kind of fell off it. And just being an adult, the time to game is becoming less and less. So big open world games, even if they're incredible, it's really hard for me to commit to those types of games. Like I still play open world games. I'm still gonna play open world games, but like, I get more overwhelmed nowadays by games that are, just the game lengths and game sizes are getting bigger, and games are taking longer. And I understand a lot of people are like, oh, Breath of the Wild, that's one of the greatest games of all time. And I played a little bit of Tears of the Kingdom on Switch 2 as well, and I think kind of the same thing happened with me. Like I think I like Tears of the Kingdom a little bit more, a little bit I played of it, but I felt overwhelmed. And I was playing a lot of games when the Switch 2 released. So I think at some point I'm going to go back to the Zelda games and try to just give it my undivided attention and try not to juggle it with many other games. But getting back to Bananza, this is my new favorite Nintendo game, and it's definitely going to be an incredible year of gaming, going to be in discussion for one of my favorite games this year. And Bananza, I can't say it enough, feels absolutely amazing to play. Like the controls, I just like, it's so like straightforward controls, but like it just feels amazing to, B is down punch, Y is forward punch, and X is you punch up, and well, of course A is jump. But it just, the way it plays, the way it controls it feels like an absolute dream to play this game. And it's my first Donkey Kong game, of course, and I just it kind of like when I was playing Donkey Kong Bonanza, I felt like I was sometimes, like after a long day of work, I felt like I was like letting out steam, just destroying everything in my path, and really messing with the terrain. But I actually just got by the main story this past Tuesday. So I had slowly been playing it over the last 3 months, and just really taking my time and digesting it. I didn't get all the collectibles, not even close. And I don't know if I ever will go back to try to get all the insane amount of collectibles that you can get in this game, from all the Bananium gems and the fossils. But yeah, I think at some point I will go back to Bananza just to play around in the sand, this awesome sandbox. But I don't think I'm ever gonna like try to get all the collectibles. But hey, maybe I'll get that itch again at some point with going back to Bananza. Maybe I will want to do that. Kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of like how I'm kind of addicted to, or getting back into collecting platinum trophies on PlayStation. And of course, I got to talk about a major mechanics in the game, in the Bananza forums. All the animals with the different special abilities. Between like the gorilla that can punch harder and destroy stuff easier, from the snake that can do bigger bounces and slow down time, and then you have the bird that you can fly around, and the bird is actually one of my favorites. And then later in the game you get the elephant that can suck up the terrain, and it can suck up lava, and you get lava out of the way. And then the zebra that can run around. But yeah, like those forms that you could control and take over as, it made the game more dynamic. And it's been a great generation for platformers between the PlayStation 5 with Astrobot, and I played Psychonauts 2 on the Xbox when I owned that for a short time, and Ratchet and Clank. I like the new Ratchet and Clank, and now with Bonanza, it's kind of like I'm realizing more and more. I think I'm getting more and more into platformers. It's not that I didn't play or enjoy platformers growing up. I just feel like they're resonating with me more as an adult, and I I think maybe growing up I felt like there was an oversaturation of platformers, but like now I feel like there's a healthy amount of platformers out on the market to play, and I'm just really enjoying my time with each one of these platformers. And I think Bonanza may be my favorite platformer this gen, either Bonanza or Psychonauts 2. I really love both those games. And I really do like the art style of Donkey Kong Bonanza. It kind of reminds me in some ways of the Mario Kart World art style. Uh, and apparently, Bonanza was originally developed for the Switch 1. But with this game, at least you get it in 60 FPS. I think if this game had released on Switch 1, I don't know if we would have got 60 FPS. The frame rate is good most of the time. There was a few times in the game where the frame rate would dip a little bit, but for the most part, it was pretty solid frame rate. And I think that was part of the problem I had with Switch 1 is so many games were at 30 FPS or lower, and it kind of just sucked me out of the games and broke the immersion. And I've realized this gen more and more, like I gotta play games in 60 FPS at least, or around 60 FPS. That's fairly consistent. Like for me, it's hard to go back to 30 FPS games, and I used to be able to play 30 FPS games all the time back in the day, and it wouldn't bother me. But now when I try to play 30 FPS games, I struggle a little bit, and it just kind of breaks the immersion. I can't really get locked in as much. But yeah, before I go on too much of a tangent about frame rates, yeah, Bonanza performs well for the most part. It's good enough for me, and I absolutely adore this game. And it's such a fun game to play. It feels unbelievable to play. Like one of the best controlling, feeling games to play. Like it just controls like a dream. And I know I keep saying that, but that's honestly the highest compliment I can give it. Like it just feels absolutely amazing to play. One of the best controlling games I've ever played, and this controller, like I've said before, helps a lot with that. And I played a lot of it in handheld mode with the Joy-Cons, and I do think these Joy-Cons are a step up from the Switch 1 Joy-Cons, which, I mean, these are bigger, so I always found the Joy-Cons on Switch 1 uncomfortable, and I'm glad they made this bigger. This feels more like a solid piece of tech, whereas the Switch 1 kind of felt like a toy a little bit. I just want to say I'm loving my Switch 2. Playing it consistently. I'm getting invested into the Nintendo ecosystem. Of course, I'm still and always will probably PlayStation will probably always be my go-to platform, my first platform. But this, for just playing Nintendo exclusives, like the amount of Nintendo exclusives I have to play, it's more than enough, and I'm gonna enjoy playing this over the coming years. And I don't think this will be a dust collector. Let's just put it that way, like the Switch 1 was at times for me. So yeah, this is me, a PlayStation gamer, admitting that I missed out on Nintendo growing up, and I'm glad I'm getting into it now. And between my Switch 2 and PS5, I'm having a great time gaming as a 30-year-old. And yeah, I look forward to the new releases that are coming out on Switch 2 in the coming weeks. Like we got Kirby Air Riders, we got Metroid Prime 4, which I both pre-ordered, and I'm looking forward to both those games. And Pokemon ZA I know just came out. I played a little bit of Pokemon Scarlet and a little bit of, what was it, Pokemon Pikachu Go on Switch 1. I don't know. I haven't been able to get into Pokemon, at least not yet. Maybe eventually, but I just can't. I don't know. It doesn't scratch that itch for me when I play it. Like Maybe I gotta play more of it, but yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I should probably sign off here. I'm very excited about what the future holds for Nintendo and PlayStation. So I hope you guys have a good day. I hope you enjoyed this video, and see you later.